Hi, I'm Sean. Welcome to the Happy Ass Ranch YouTube channel. This channel I've been wanting to start for about 5 years. I got sidetracked because of cancer. So today I'm going to tell you about my cancer. So my cancer was uh, oropharyngeal throat cancer. It's an HPV virus cancer. HPV is a sexually transmitted disease. Guys get it from women through oral sex. Um, they say that you can contract the HPV virus from your mother when you're born, but this virus will lay dormant in you for decades, and then whatever triggers it, triggers it. So I was diagnosed in January of 2024. I started my treatment. Ironically, they wanted to start my treatment on the 21st of February, which was my birthday, and I said, no, I'm not starting. I'm not, on my birthday, I'm not doing chemo. No way. So I started a week later, at the end of February. My treatment was 7 weeks, 7 chemo treatments every Monday, and then 5 days a week, I would do radiation. The doctors had told me it's going to be very painful. The radiation is very painful. The chemo will make you sick. I have a high pain tolerance. So I said, I'll probably be all right with the pain department. They were telling me I will never go through pain like this pain. They said that, but everything will be okay because they will give you plenty of painkillers. Well, I don't take painkillers. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't take painkillers. I was like, I'll just get through it. They assured me that I'll probably take painkillers. And I was, you don't know me. At the time, I was 212, probably had 7-8% body fat, so pretty fit. They told me I'd lose weight. I said, I'm a hell of an eater. I'll probably be okay. They said, you'll probably lose weight. And I said, well, I could probably lose 7 or 8 pounds and be okay. So I'm not worried about that. And they said, no, it'll be about 25 to 30%. And I said, I don't see that. I'm a positive thinker. So, everything I go into, I know that I'm going to be okay. They tell me that this is 98% curable. I know I'm not going to be that 2%. I'm just not. I'm the lucky guy. I'm the positive thinker. I'm a lucky person. So on to treatment and what to expect. So the radiation, you're going to need pre-radiation setup. So basically what they do is you get a mask, this mesh mask that they form fit over your face. If you're claustrophobic, you're gonna hate this. I'm not, and it wasn't fun, but I got through it all right. This thing fits your face to the table, and they lock you down, which is very important because when you get your radiation, it's just pinpoint accuracy. They can't just like radiate the hell out of your head. It's gotta be pinpoint. So, and it has to be the same exact every single time. So you get this mask. If you're claustrophobic, all I want to tell you is it's not going to be fun, but the radiation treatment itself is only a couple minutes, so it's not horrible. So anyway, you get the mask made, and that's pretty much what you need to do to get ready for the radiation. On my first chemo treatment, it's your chemo treatments are about 5 hours. You see most breast cancer, like 2.5 hours chemo treatment. You're going to be 5 out in there, 4.5 to 5 hours. It sucks being in, the whole process sucks. It's emotional. You're going in there, you're seeing people that are sick. You're seeing people that aren't going to make it. They're getting treatment just to survive. Um, I had a lot of guilty feelings because I knew I was going to make it. And, and people are asking you how you're doing, and you're like, well, I'm fine because, well, I'm going to make it, and you're taught, these are people that aren't going to make it, they're concerned about you. So it's kind of the whole process just sucks. But anyway, so my first week, I got my first chemo treatment. First day you don't notice anything. Second, third day, no. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday, I started noticing a metallic taste in my mouth. It was pretty prevalent by the weekend, and by the weekend I noticed that I wasn't feeling very good. I was feeling a little down from the chemo, which is kind of the chemo process. You get your chemo on Monday. By the weekend, you're feeling pretty shitty. And then on Monday, you almost feel a little bit better, so you can go in and start feeling crappy again from the chemo. So at the first week, I noticed the chemo was really giving me a metallic taste more than anything, which sucks because your food starts tasting metallic-y, and to me, it wasn't fun. I don't like that. The radiation, I didn't notice anything the first week. It was no big deal. It's not the radiation's not painful. My 35th radiation treatment, the radiation's not painful. It's what it does to you that's painful. But anyway, the first week of radiation, I didn't notice anything other than the radiation does, it basically cooks your saliva glands. Your saliva you start producing very little saliva. And what saliva you do produce is it gets thick, like disgusting thick. I used to tell my wife, my whole body feels disgusting. Your mouth, the first week, you're doing a lot of spitting, just to try to get the stuff out of your mouth. You notice it's starting to get thick. It's kind of like, when you got a cold, you'd hack something up and you just spit it out. It's kind of what it is the first week. So no big deal. I'm still eating fine the first week. The second week after chemo, Tuesday, it was the next day, like, now I'm really starting to the metallic taste is in everything, so all my food is tasting metallic-y. To me, that's disgusting. I had just the mental part of that, like this, you hear people say, oh, I can't put spoons in my mouth because this metallic taste. And you're like, that's weird. No shit, it's real. Everything I love started tasting crappy. Your taste buds just stop working, so you're not really everything's tasting not the same. The metallic taste is pretty disgusting. To me, it was. So now I'm eating a lot of the foods that I was eating. I'm not eating because it doesn't taste good. I don't drink. I don't smoke. But my vice is, I have an energy drink. 4 or 5 times a week, not every day, not lots of them. But I do drink a lot of Coke. That's kind of my vice. Coke was disgusting. Like by Wednesday of the second week, I couldn't even drink Cokes anymore. They were like the metallic. There was just a weird metallic-y taste to it, and it was just gross. I'm not a coffee drinker. I am now. Coffee was the only thing that I could drink that wasn't watered, that tasted like, that was tolerable, didn't have a metallic taste, which was weird. But anyway, so I was like, okay, now I'm getting my caffeine, so I'm good to go. The ice water will be your friend. That, When your saliva glands stop working, your mouth is extremely dry all the time. So you're drinking lots and lots of water. The second week, I got pretty sick. Started getting fairly sick with the chemo. By the weekend, I was run down. Like feeling like I was. You know, I noticed I needed to lay down a lot. The radiation. Like I said, the radiation itself wasn't painful. I did notice now it's starting to affect my swallowing, and I could feel it was a little painful to swallow, but not bad. I was eating a lot of oatmeal still tasted normal, and chocolate, anything chocolate tasted normal, and the oatmeal, I could eat oatmeal, and milk didn't taste metallic either. So by the end of the second week, the only thing I'm eating is oatmeal. And I'm eating oatmeal every meal, lots and lots of oatmeal. You need 2,500 to 3,000 calories to keep from losing weight. So I was eating that and more in oatmeal, because I wanted to, as long as I could eat, I wanted to eat a ton. So, but it was getting a little hard to swallow, at the end of the second week. And your mouth, good God, just dry at night, man. You're waking up and it's like the Sahara Desert in your mouth, so you're just you're drinking a lot of water at night. It's hard to sleep. So the third week rolls around and I get my chemo. My blood work still looks good. The chemo that week, now everything is, nothing tastes good. Even the oatmeal is now disgusting. Chocolate's changing to where I don't even like that. And it's the metallic taste is just awful. It's overbearing. Water and coffee was the only liquid going in me, and lots of water. Radiation, like I said, it's not painful. The radiation itself, my throat was getting pretty painful at that point. It wasn't bad. They prescribed me liquid oxy, gave me a big old bottle of liquid oxy, and I was like, I'm not taking that. And they also gave me this mouthwash that would numb your throat. So I opted to use that more. I would take Advil and stuff like that, but it didn't really touch the pain in your throat. But I wasn't going to take the oxy. So I just chose not to do that. You take it if you need it, that's what I'm saying. But when they're telling you don't take too much of this oxy, it's very addictive, and I know the pain I'm going to be going through. I don't want to deal with that, getting hooked on anything. I've had a brother died a junkie, so I don't want to be, I'm just sensitive to that stuff. So the third week, by the end of the third week, eating was swallowing anything was painful. The oatmeal tasted like crap, but I was trying to, I was force feeding it, wash it. Anytime you eat anything, you take a bite and then you drink a bunch of water to wash, because you're not producing any saliva at this point. You do need a water bottle, empty water bottle for your spit, because you can't spit. You got to basically push it out of your mouth and then scrape it off with the water bottle. And you need to do this consistently, constantly, over and over, all day long, all night. So you've got this gross ass bottle of, disgusting saliva in this bottle. This process is disgusting. It's not fun. I told them by the end of the third week And at this point, I'm eating less, and I think I'd lost about 6 pounds at this point by the end of the third week. And I told him, I probably need this feeding tube because it's it's too painful to swallow. And I was drinking. I'd gone to GNC and got these protein powders that were, you drink 20 ounces of it, and it's like 1,500 calories, and all the protein, because you need protein in this process. You've got to have protein because your body is eating itself. When you start losing weight, it's muscle mass. It's not, hey, look at me, I'm getting skinny, I'm losing all my fat. Now it'll eat your muscles up. So I got that. It was chocolate flavored. It's not wasn't tasting good. So I was kind of living off of that at the end of the third week. And I told him, hey, I need the feeding tube. They couldn't get it in. I couldn't get in till the following Friday, which was 7 days, 8 days. The third week, on the weekend, I had my last meal by mouth. I couldn't swallow. Water was the only thing I could swallow. The powder drinks, I would just throw them up. It was so disgusting tasting. The taste was what was really getting me with that. So I had my last meal that weekend on Saturday, which I don't really count that as my last meal because I threw it up. I couldn't even get it down. I couldn't keep it down. I went from Saturday to the following Friday with 0 calories going in my body. That week I lost 18 pounds. It was bad. But I couldn't eat. There was nothing my week 4 was bad. The chemo, I got sick with the chemo quite a bit. Excuse me. And then the radiation at this point was, getting radiation doesn't hurt, but it's what it does to you. Like I said, at this point, my throat is very, very painful. It's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. It was bordering on horrific pain. In fact, in the 4th week, I think on Wednesday night, I wanted to take the oxy, but I couldn't get any food in me, so you have to have food with it. So I couldn't even take it, but I wanted to very badly. The mouthwash, I was going through the mouthwash like crazy, and it would help for maybe 20 minutes. You can't even use enough of this stuff for it to make a big difference. So I got my feeding tube in, thank God. You get these the feeding tube doesn't hurt getting it in. It's not feeding yourself is easy. It was actually the easiest thing about this, so you get these little cartons. They're 400 calories. So you need to do, 7 or 8 of those a day. No big deal. It just takes a couple of minutes to feed yourself. I mean, it's very easy. But then there's the next thing. So you feed yourself, and you feed yourself about a carton. Carton was all I could do. Carton and a half made me super full, so I would just do a carton. And the other reason I'd only do a carton is your throat is, the pain in your throat is so severe. And what happens is you get saliva, like a little piece of saliva that's so thick that's in your throat. And it's like sticking your finger in your throat. You gag and you gag and you gag and you can't get it up. And the more you gag, it's like horrific pain on your throat. Um, and then you gag until you throw up. So you feed yourself. You don't taste anything. I mean, the stuff looks gross, but you don't taste it. So you feed yourself, and it takes 45 minutes for that. Or for me, it took 45 minutes before I knew it's in my system. It's digested. I'm not throwing it up. But for 45 minutes, I would sit very quietly and then try not to swallow, or I would drink water, sit very quietly, because if I started gagging, I would throw that up. And when you throw that up, just throwing up is painful. But the byproduct of throwing up your food is the stomach acid. Your throat from the radiation is like having the worst possible sunburn you can imagine on the inside of your throat. So that gives you an idea how bad that thing is going to hurt. And then when you throw up, you got this raw ass throat, and then you just throw in some stomach acids on top of that. It's bad. It's just, I would throw up in the sink, which might sound bad, but you're basically just throwing up liquid. But I didn't have the strength to get up and down from the ground, so I would just lean on the sink, have the water running, throw up if anything in the sink. And there was times, and I'm not ashamed to say it, that I was throwing up and crying. It's that painful. I remember I would be sitting on the couch watching TV, trying to, be very still. And then I would feel that saliva go into my throat, and I would just basically, oh no. And then it would start, and what's coming, and it's bad. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just letting you know it's bad. Here's what I kept thinking. This is only going to last for so long, and I'm going to get better. So I'm in week 4. This is up to week 4. This is how bad it is on week 4. So now I can't even, I'm doing 7 or 8 of those boxes a day. I'm only being able to keep down half of them. So I'm losing weight pretty rapidly. I'm just going to let you know at the time, I'll skip forward on the weight loss. I went in at 212. I came out at 159. And I would look in the mirror, and I was like, I looked like I was a Holocaust victim. I mean, I was just, skin wrapped around bones. I was like, I couldn't even recognize who I was at the time. It was scary. I mean, you're looking at yourself and you're like, am I going to make this? Or shit, is this going to kill me? Week 5 rolls around. My body's, my blood work comes back. It's not great, but it's still, I'm all right, for chemo. So I get the chemo. Chemo's making me sick as shit, and I've lost so much weight that, it's starting to affect, just overall functioning every day. Now the chemo, I'm sick from that. I'm not getting enough calories. I don't have the energy. By the end of week 5, by the way, I did try the oxy. I took 1 dose. It didn't do shit. And my wife said, maybe you need to take a little more. And I said, no. And I dumped it down the drain. I just was like, I'm not taking more of that. Like, how much do I got to take for it to not hurt? Like, I don't even want to know. So I got rid of it just so I wouldn't get in a bad spot and then go start chugging that shit. So week 5, just consistently losing weight. The pain is just unbearable. But now you're through it, so uh, you're not through it, but it's not getting worse. I think it's as bad as it's going to get. But it's just the pain. I'll say it again. It's horrific. It is just awful. Week 6 rolls around. I'm a mess. I'm weak. Like every day, all I'm doing is laying in bed. I get up to pee. It literally, you got to lay down and take a nap after peeing because of the energy just used to going to the bathroom. It's just, you're just useless at this point. The pain level is just through the roof. Chemo's making you pretty sick. The metallic taste is bad. Like the metallic taste is almost like you're not really tasting anything anymore at this point, because you're like coffee. I'm not even drinking coffee anymore. It's just strictly water. Like the only thing that's going in my mouth is water, and it hurts to swallow the water. I'm not going to lie, but you got to drink. You have to keep the swallowing mechanism rolling. So I'm just constantly drinking ice water. And your mouth, because your mouth is so dry, like I'd put water in my mouth and just let it sit there and try to like soak into my skin and my tongue and everything. It was just, you're so dry. The saliva is just disgusting. It's so thick. Week 6 is bad. Week 7, now I'm on my last week. I roll in there. The end of week 6 on the weekend, I was so sick. And I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to be able to, I think my shit's shutting down, my organs, because I just felt so bad. And I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the chemo tomorrow. I think I'm not well enough. And of course I went in, and doctor comes in, goes over your blood test before they give you the chemo. And she says, no chemo for you today, because I'm in dangerous levels. The chemo, if I take that chemo, I might not survive it, So I'm like, well, okay, good, no chemo. And she's like, and we'll just do that next week or when your levels come up. And I said, no, this is my 7th week. I'm done. You either do the chemo today or we don't do the chemo ever. This is it. This is my last week of this shit. I'm done. And I said, what if I don't do it? Will it screw up the whole thing? And she said, I don't know, but you'll probably be okay. So I said, okay, we're not scheduling another chemo. So in my case, I only was able to do 6 of the 7 chemo treatments. Radiation, the 7th week, went through it just fine. The radiation, like I said, it doesn't hurt. So I get through that. All I can think of is I'm just counting the days, 2 more days, 1 more day, I'm done. So Friday, I'm done. The good thing is you're done with your treatment, but the symptoms, your throat will be painful. You're not going to be able to eat for another month. It's still bad. You don't get done with treatment and now you're good. Like I said, I ended up losing over 50 pounds, and basically it was, all muscle mass, so everyday things that you normally do, I go to, like, I'm not picking anything up, I don't have the strength to do anything. It's crazy. So now I'm in the healing period, so every day, all I can think about, and I'm just starving. I'm still feeding myself. The same thing I'm going through every day. Every day I'm feeding myself through my tube and trying not to throw it up. You go through that for a month, afterwards. It doesn't stop. That month after treatment, All I did was watch YouTube, how to make pizza, because I was thinking about what I wanted to eat when I was able to eat. So I was like, I just wanted pizza so bad. So I started watching like, how do you make pizza and stuff like that. And my wife's like, why do you do that to yourself? I'm like, it's just like, it's given me hope, and it's given me something positive to make it through, you know? And so to me, it wasn't torture. It was a sense of comfort, knowing I'm going to have me some pizza here pretty soon, you know, like this is only going to last so long, and then I'm good to go. So after the first month, I started eating a few things. Still nothing tastes good. You know, your taste buds don't come back, you know, quickly. Your saliva, I'm a year way out from my treatment. When my treatment ended, it's been a year. My saliva output is probably 75 to 80%. So it's still, you know, I still get dry mouth a little bit. A lot of things still don't taste right. Coke, I don't drink Coke anymore, which is, you know, sucks because I loved it. Now it doesn't taste that good. I'll drink it, but it doesn't taste good anymore. You know, it's not bad, but it's not great. I drink tons of water. Most foods taste different, but I'm just finding out, you know, things that taste all right. After the first month I started eating, I left the feeding tube in for 2 months, just so I could keep the calories coming in. It it progressed pretty quickly as far as eating food. I remember the first time I ate a hamburger at a poker game, and it tasted so good to have actual food, meat. That was the first thing that I ate that was solid, was a hamburger. Just the patty. I didn't eat the bread because I was thinking whatever saliva I had, the bread would soak it up. So I knew, you know, like you eat something and you got to drink water just to wash it, you know, you help even chew it up and get it down. But I ate like 3 hamburgers that night. It was pretty funny. And it was amazing. I loved it. It was probably the best food I've ever had in my life, I feel like. But so, you know, I just want to let you know, if you're getting ready to go through this, all you got to know is, you'll get through it. It's a fraction of your life. It's not going to kill you. You're going to wish you were dead a lot of days, you know. It is horrifically painful. But I don't really have anything lasting from it. I think I'm up to 178 pounds now. I haven't gained back a lot of weight, only because I don't, you know, like everybody's like, just eat a bunch of food. And I'm like, well, I want to get fat, you know, like I want to gain back the muscle. So I'm still to this day not on a, you know, weightlifting program or anything yet, because my body just isn't ready for that. So it's you know, I can hike around now a little bit. And, you know, I think I've done like 5 or 6 mile hikes, which I'm used to 15 to 20. So I do a lot of mountain hiking, and, you know, I haven't been able to do that. So now I'm just getting back to that. So it does get better, and you can just get through it. So if you have any questions for me, just comment below. I'm going to read all my comments, and then, you know, I'll answer any questions that you might have. If you need some support, just ask, you know, and I'll help you all I can. Like I said, this is my first real video on here. If you could like the video, and, you know, more importantly, if you could subscribe to it, you know, you'd be doing me a big solid. I appreciate it. And the channel is going to be a lot of homesteading, a lot of hiking. I have donkeys, mules, and, you know, it's like a petting zoo around here. So, you know, I'm going to talk a lot about donkeys and mules and training and that kind of stuff, and, you know, do-it-yourself projects and those kinds of things. So subscribe to the channel, please. And give a shout out, you know, like if you're getting ready to go through this, you know, holler out, you know, comment where you're at, and so we can all give you some support. So good luck, and I hope it all works out for you. So thanks, and I'll see you on the next video.